Hey everyone, ready to jump into a tech career that's kind of blowing up right now?
Blowing up is right, and it's only getting bigger.
We're talking industrial mobile devices software developer.
Definitely a mouthful.
It is, but the work itself is fascinating.
Absolutely. Where software meets, like, the real world.
Exactly. We've got a ton of info to unpack today thanks to RoleCatcher.
They've got it all, honestly.
Yeah, career guides, interview tips, even AI tools to help you land the job.
Let's dive in. What does an industrial mobile devices software developer actually do?
Right, because it's a bit of a mouthful. Like, what's the quick explanation?
Think about rugged tablets, the ones you see in factories or those handheld devices used in, like, logistics and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
These developers, they're the brains behind the software that makes those things actually work.
So it's not your typical app development then?
Totally different ballgame. This is about solving real-world problems, not just making the next viral game or whatever.
Makes sense. So when RoleCatcher talks about designing software for device operating systems.
They mean, like, the core languages that make these specialized devices work, right?
Exactly. They're like the foundation of everything.
Okay, got it.
But, and this is important, it's not just about the code.
What else then?
These developers, they're kind of like tech translators, you know?
Tech translators love that.
Yeah. They take these complex industrial needs and turn them into software that's actually user-friendly.
Ah, so it's like you need to understand the tech and how people actually use it?
Yeah, it's a huge part of the job. Which reminds me, RoleCatcher really stressed typical interactions.
Right, right. They said communication skills are super important.
For sure. Imagine explaining a software fix to a factory floor manager who's, not exactly a tech whiz.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be tricky.
Totally. You got to bridge that gap, make things clear, and really listen to what they need. It's a two-way street.
Collaboration, not just tech dumping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about what really gets people pumped about this career.
Yeah.
The perks.
RoleCatcher made it sound pretty sweet. High demand, salaries to match, and lots of room to grow.
And they're not wrong. But honestly, that all comes down to one thing.
What's that?
Industries are going nuts for automation, more connected than ever.
True, true.
Robotics, AI, the Internet of Things, it all needs specialized software, and that's where these developers come in.
So they're not just keeping up, they're like leading the charge.
Exactly. Shaping how industries actually work.
That's got to feel good, making that kind of impact.
For sure. But look, got it real, no job's perfect, right?
True.
RoleCatcher mentioned deadlines, constant learning, and yeah, that's the reality.
Not your average 9 to 5 then.
Definitely not. You're on the cutting edge, which is exciting, but also demanding, Got to be adaptable, always learning new stuff.
Sounds like you really need that drive to keep up.
100%.
Yeah.
This career, it's perfect for someone who loves a challenge, thrives on solving problems, and gets fired up about tech shaping the real world.
Not just lines of code on a screen.
Exactly. It's about seeing your work have an actual impact in industries that, honestly, keep the world running.
Love that. Okay, so say someone's totally on board, they want in. What does RoleCatcher recommend?
They have a whole section on academic pathways,
Well,
but they stress this a lot. Practical experience is key.
so it's not just about the degree.
It's a good starting point, don't get me wrong. But employers want to see you can apply what you've learned.
Right, they want to see you build something.
Exactly. Personal projects, internships, anything where you're getting your hands dirty.
So, like, even if it's a simple app for a made-up factory scenario?
It shows initiative, that you're not just interested in theory, you're driven to use those skills.
But that's a great point. It's about showing, not just telling.
Exactly. Okay, but here's the catch. There are tons of people vying for these roles.
Oh, for sure. It's competitive out there.
Big time. So how do you stand out?
Yeah, what did RoleCatcher say about that?
Networking, networking, networking.
It always comes back to that, huh?
It's huge. Go to industry events. Reach
Right.
out to people already doing the work. Those connections. Invaluable.
You can learn so much from people already in the field.
Absolutely. And you never know what doors those conversations might open.
It's like they say, it's not always what you know, it's who you know.
Sometimes, yeah. But honestly, the fact that RoleCatcher emphasizes that, the human element,
Yeah, they seemed big on that.
it shows they get it. It's
Yeah.
not just about being a coding machine.
It's about communication, collaboration, understanding the why behind the tech.
And that, I think, is a perfect segue into their career stage breakdown. They've got 4 levels, starting with entry level all the way to senior developer.
A clear progression path. I like that.
It's super helpful. Shows how your responsibilities and your impact change as you gain experience.
So it's not just about getting your foot in the door.
Nope.
It's about understanding where you can go, what skills you need to level up.
Precisely. And speaking of skills, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the technical stuff. What does RoleCatcher say about the actual programming languages, the software development chops you need to succeed?
They're pretty straightforward about it. Got to be fluent in multiple languages, the usual
Like
suspects.
what, specifically?
Java, C++, Set, Swift, the ones that are everywhere these days.
Makes sense, the building blocks.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It's not enough to just know how to write the code, like memorizing the syntax.
Oh, know how to use it.
Exactly. You got to understand how to use those languages to solve the specific challenges these industrial devices throw at you.
Which I'm guessing are pretty different from your average smartphone app.
Oh, night and day. Think about it. Industrial devices, they need to be bulletproof, reliable.
Can't have them crashing in the middle of a critical task.
Exactly. We're talking harsh environments, extreme temperatures, dust, water. The software can't just quit on you.
Makes sense. A software glitch in a factory, that could be disastrous. Huge safety hazards, production halts, the works, and don't even get me started on security.
Oh, right. That's got to be a major concern.
Major. These devices, they're handling sensitive data, controlling critical infrastructure. Security is paramount.
So the software has to be designed with that in mind from the ground up.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's not just about individual devices either. You got to think about integration.
Right, how they all fit together.
They're all connected, these complex systems, sensors, other devices, all talking to each other.
Like a digital ecosystem.
Perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
And they have to communicate flawlessly, wirelessly, most of the time. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, you name it.
So it's like building the nervous system of an entire factory.
You got it. It's next level stuff. And just when you thought it couldn't get more complex, RoleCatcher throws this curveball.
Hit me.
The Internet of Things, AI, big data, they're all changing the game again.
So it's like constantly evolving.
Always. Imagine a factory where the machines predict their own maintenance needs or adjust their output based on real-time data.
That sounds like science fiction.
That's the future these developers are building. And to do that, they need a deep understanding of all these emerging technologies.
So the learning never really stops, huh?
Never. Got to be a lifelong learner in this field, always curious, always adapting.
Sounds daunting, but exciting at the same time. But let's say you've got the skills, you're ready to dive in. How do you actually ace the interview? RoleCatcher had some interesting advice there, right?
They did. One thing they hammered home was, be ready for scenario-based questions. They want to see how you think on your feet.
So not just listing off your skills and experience.
Right. It's more like, okay, here's a problem. How would you approach it?
Give me an example. What kind of curveballs might they throw?
Oh, they might ask something like, how would you make sure the software you develop is secure and meets industry standards? Or, tell me about a time you had to optimize software performance for a device with limited resources. Real-world stuff.
They want to see how you think clinically, how you apply what you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just know the theory. They want to see you can use it.
And this, I think, is where those AI tools from RoleCatcher come in, right? Their interview practice feature.
Oh, it's genius. You can actually record yourself answering practice questions and get feedback from the AI.
So it's like having a virtual interview coach.
Basically, it analyzes your delivery, how clear you are, even your body language.
Wow, that's wild. It's like having a secret weapon to boost your confidence.
It's surprisingly helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's shift gears a bit, talk about the career path itself. Remember, RoleCatchers break down those 4 stages: entry-level, junior, mid-level, senior developer.
Yeah, what struck me was how they emphasized responsibility, how it grows at each stage.
Exactly. You start at the bottom, learning the ropes, assisting the more experienced devs.
Paying your dues, basically.
Pretty much. But as you gain experience, you get more autonomy, start leading projects, mentoring junior developers.
So it's not just about writing more code, it's about leadership, mentorship, too.
Exactly. And when you reach that senior developer level, you're not just coding anymore. You're shaping the whole direction of the software development, working with everyone in the organization.
You become like a technical leader.
More than that, even. You're doing research into new technologies, figuring out the future of the field.
That's pretty amazing, that kind of growth potential. It's a real career, not just a job.
Couldn't agree more. And that's something RoleCatcher did really well. They highlighted that human side of technology.
Finding a path that aligns with your passions, your values.
It's not just about the tech. It's about making a difference, finding work that's meaningful to you. Which actually brings us back to something else RoleCatcher stressed.
What's that?
The importance of the human element, they called it. They said it's not enough to be a coding whiz. You got to be a good communicator, a collaborator, understand the why behind the technology.
Not just how, but why.
Exactly. It's about using your skills to solve real problems, improve people's lives.
Love that. It's about making a real impact. And speaking of impact, we got to talk about one of the coolest things about RoleCatcher. Their AI-powered tools, we touched on the interview prep, but their job searching tools, those are next level.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So picture this. You upload your CV, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But their AI, it doesn't just look for keywords like those old school systems.
Oh, really? What does it do then?
It digs deep, analyzes your skills, your experience, everything.
In the context of these specific jobs we're talking about.
Exactly. It figures out your strengths, even points out areas where you might need to, level up a bit.
So it's like a personalized feedback system, almost like a career coach.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. It doesn't just tell you what you're missing.
What, there's more?
Oh, yeah. It actually recommends stuff like courses, projects, things you can do to fill those gaps.
That is seriously cool. It's like having a roadmap for your career.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. Remember the interview prep stuff we talked about?
Yeah, the practice questions, the AI feedback, that was wild. Well, they even analyze your video responses.
No way. What do they get from that?
Everything. The body language, your tone of voice, all those little things that matter in an interview.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly. They help you nail those subtle cues that can make a huge difference.
That's amazing. Especially these days, the job market's so competitive. First impressions are everything.
No doubt about it. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have.
But I think the main takeaway from all this, from everything RoleCatcher offers,
Yeah.
it's that they get it, they understand it's not just about finding any job.
It's about finding the right fit.
Exactly. The right fit for you, for your skills, for what you want to achieve.
It's about building a career that's, actually fulfilling.
100%.
Yeah.
And with industrial mobile devices, software development, the possibilities are huge, always evolving.
For sure. And for anyone listening, I think that's the perfect note to end on.
What's that?
This field, it touches everything, every industry you can imagine.
From factories to hospitals, it's everywhere.
Exactly. So, yeah, if you're looking for a career where you can make a real impact, this could be it.
No doubt about it. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.